Hi everyone, we just thought we'd put together this quick screencast for you so that we can just have a bit of a summary after our live collaborate last week on preparing for placement, and we've put together some top tips for your placement and helping you settle in over those first few days and throughout your 21 days on placement. So the tips that we've come up with are these, and they are knowing your placement expectations. So by that, what we're thinking about is making sure that you're reading all the information that's provided for you in the unit Padlet and in the student hub, and also having a copy of these documents with you in hard copy can make things a bit easier and have it handy there for easy reference. And just also making sure that, and I'm sure Courtney went through this the other night in the live session, just making sure your mentor teacher has a copy of the placement expectation and requirement pack, because that's quite an important document for you to have and give to your mentor teacher, and it clearly explains the expectations for you for your placement. The second tip we've got there is building positive relationships with the children and staff. So one of the tips we have is spending the first few days spending some time getting to know all the children, learning their names and finding a little bit about them all, because you're going to be working with these children over the next month or so. So one of the students from one of my groups recently posted on our discussion board a great little getting to know you game, and this could be a way for you to get to know the children in the class that you'll be working with. And the great little game was with an inflated beach ball, and on the beach ball were written some questions so that you can get to know the children, like, what is your favourite colour, I guess what is your favourite food, and you would roll the ball to the child and have them say their name and then answer that question. So that's a game that you could be playing over a few days as you build some relationships with the children and the staff too. Another tip is to introduce yourself to all of the school staff around, and also you might want to have a chat to your mentor teacher about how she'd like you to introduce yourself to the families. So in a school setting, it's often the case where your mentor teacher might have already introduced you in a newsletter or maybe the term newsletter that she'd sent out to the parents. But Veronica, one of our ELAs, also had a great idea of making a video that you could send home to the parents too, just introducing yourself and getting for them to get to know you, especially if they're not allowed on site at the moment. They may just wonder who this pre-service teacher is that their child is talking so much about, and enjoying the time with them. So the next tip we've got there is to observe and ask questions. So over those first few days, if you can make lots of notes on what your mentor teacher is doing, observing the strategies that she's using for engaging the children, or strategies that she's using, or he, I should say, behaviour management. So ask lots of questions too, excuse me, but just try and make sure that it's at a time which is convenient for your mentor teacher. So you might just want to have a quick chat to them and say, when's a good time for me to sit down with you and I can ask some questions, and that way she'll have the time, or they'll have the time to go through your questions with you, and in a bit more of a detailed way. So just, you're there to learn. Take as many notes as you can, observe what's going on, how different staff interact with the children, and have those questions jotted down as they jump in your mind, and then at a later date you'll be able to ask your mentor teacher about them. Number 4, use your initiative. So another idea that, or another tip that we had was using your initiative and trying to get hold of copies of timetables and any planners or any school handouts or the school handbook, just so that you can have them as examples for future placements, or just you may want to use those throughout your time on placement 2, different ways of planning lessons. But the timetable will be a really handy one for you to have, so you can become familiar with the children's routine for the day and for the week. Use your initiative if you see some help is needed. Just offer to help out when you can. And also something else that we talked about at the Live Collaborate is to try and make yourself a part of the school life too. So just use your initiative there and try and be as involved as you can be. Number 5 is be positive and act on feedback given. So if I look at my notes here, so just obviously while you're there on placement, you're going to be given feedback on how your teaching strategies and how you're engaging with the children, as well as your lesson planning. So it's best to be positive and act on the advice that's been given to you. So have a chat to your mentor teacher about how you'll get your feedback. Some might like to sit down and have a chat to you about it one-on-one. Others might just hand you some notes at the end of the lesson, and then you can come back together and after you've had some time to go through them and talk about them together. Some mentor teachers might prefer to have a catch up in the morning before the day begins, or after school or lunchtime. It's just really depending on when it fits in with them and you, making it a mutually convenient time for both of you. So mentor teachers also like to see that the advice and the feedback that they've been given, that it's been reflected upon and acted on. So just taking that advice, remember you're there to learn, remember they're not expecting you to have all the answers, and just reflect upon the feedback that's been given on how you can improve, or any changes that need to be made to your planning or your teaching, and just move forward from there. So, but really make sure that you're taking the time to have a think about the feedback that's been given and being positive about it, and also that you have some time to unpack that with your mentor teacher. The last one I've called Triple P. Be punctual, be professional, and be polite. We really don't need to go through this with you. You'll know that that's expected. Just don't forget that, how you interact with the children, how you interact with the other staff. These things are noticed by mentor teachers and also other people on staff. So if always be on time. If for some reason you're going to be running late, give your mentor teacher as much notice or as you can, so that they're aware that you're running late or something's happened. And yeah, be professional and be polite. And just remember that you're a guest in the school too. So they're just some little things we wanted to run through with you. I know there's a lot of you starting this week and over the next few weeks. So most of all, have fun and enjoy your time with the children. And I'm sure you'll be learning a lot and also having a really positive, great experience.